How's it going, guys? I'm your host Caravan Gaming. Welcome back to another very special Adventure Quest video. And as you guys can tell from the title already, today we are going to have another spicy video, okay? So, I have to be very frank, I really do not particularly enjoy making these type of videos. Maybe you guys might not feel that way because, if you guys know me, then you know that I like to argue a lot online. But I don't really like making videos about, these sort of stuff. And even though I do like to talk about them and discuss them, but making a video is like a whole different thing altogether. So I don't really like to make a video on it unless I absolutely have to. And I do think it's quite important for me to talk about it. As someone who has like a voice inside of this community, I think it's important for me to address it, and hopefully the staff sees it and they'll listen and they'll change and do something about it. So first of all, I do want to go through all of the changes for the Frostval Giftbox 2023 set, just so you guys are not confused. Hopefully this is the last round, hopefully they are not going to continue nerfing anything else, but we won't really know. Okay, so first off, the weapons, okay, the power of the weapons were doubled, so they cut it in half. Okay, no, not doubled, sorry. Okay, it was originally doubled, okay, of its intended value, so they cut the power of the weapons in half. The shield is the one of the two items that they have not touched. Okay, I do not know if they will touch the shield. Currently, what I'm hearing is the shield's value or duration is actually double as well. So the duration is supposed to be cut in half, and the shield is undoubtedly one of the best parts of the set. Currently, if they touch it, I think a lot of people are going to be angry, out of all the items in the set, even if everything goes to trash, like I think the shield is the one item that's really good regardless of a build. So I'm really hoping they do not touch the shield. A lot of people are hoping that as well. But based off what I'm hearing, I think the duration is double. Okay, they have not touched this yet, so just take this with a grain of salt. Next up, the armor. Okay, so the armor, all of the effects, the power got cut in half, which kind of sucks. And then on top of that, they also did something in the full set bonus, which I'll talk about in a little bit. The pet is the one thing that they did not touch, and I haven't heard of them wanting to touch it yet. But as you guys know, the pet is probably the most lackluster item of the whole set, which explains why it has not been touched, okay? And last but not least, we have the miscellaneous item. So the miscellaneous item originally gives 10 omnipotency, and then if you have the full set, which is basically, I think it's the armor, shield, and weapon, or is it just shield and weapon? I can't remember. Along with the miscellaneous item, you're getting 20. So originally, if you're using like the full complete set, you will get 30 omnipotence, okay? And some people are saying that's power creep, that's a lot. And to that, my answer is no, that is not. We have had higher potency before without being locked to a full set. So how often do you use a ice weapon, ice armor, ice shield, and an ice miscellaneous item all together at the same time? The answer to that is almost never. And how often does one carry a full set of anything around, regardless of how great the set is? Even for something as good as like the Wish Fever set, I don't use the full set. And if I have to be very honest, I really don't see people using a full set of anything nowadays. So like the full set bonus, it's not really that fantastic if you think about it in a practical sense, okay? Necromancer armor, I'm getting potency. Pride Lord Pet and Pride Lord Guest, I'm getting more potency. Optical miscellaneous item, which is good for all Beastmasters, I'm getting omnipotency as well. All of that adds up. It's more than 30, and you don't have to be locked to a set. And all of those items are good for basically everything, okay? Or they are more useful than this set as a whole, if I want to be very honest. So my question is, if it's not power creep, why change it? Okay, yes, I know it's a bug fix, and I do want to give the staff praise for fixing the bugs quickly. That was one of the complaints that a lot of people had, was to fix the bugs quicker and not have it snowball into a never-ending backlog, and it basically never gets touched for the next 10 years. Okay, so they did fix the bugs quickly, but I also want to talk about that. I do not think simply fixing the bugs solves the problem. In fact, I think the staff needs to go beyond fixing the bugs, okay? just because it's a wrong number and you correct it to the right number doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Okay, it needs to go beyond that. You need to think more. Okay, so if the original value of this was doubled and you cut it in half, what are players going to think? Okay, and not just one item, but basically every single item in the set was doubled. Oh, one more thing I forgot to bring up is the spell. So the spell, initially, it didn't have any hits. Okay, now it has 2 hits, okay, in order to make it work with the weapon, but the 2 hits will do 0 damage, and the 2 hits are not auto hit, but you will be able to inflict the effect whether or not you land the hit. So it's basically as good as auto hit. The hits are just there just so for the weapon to work, the magic weapon to work with the spell basically. But they also cut the power of the spell in half as well as the duration. Okay, at first they cut the power of the spell in half and the duration in half, but now they reinstated the duration back to 6 turns. So now the only change to the spell was that the power got cut in half. So yeah, when you cut everything in the set by half, what do players feel? You know, it's not a good feeling, regardless of whether or not it is intended. Like, bug fixes are not intended. You want to fix it and you want to fix it quickly. We get that. But when you cut everything by 50% after giving players a taste of, you know, the doubled power, that really sucks. Especially for a set that is, I would say, free to play. Okay, everybody can get this set as long as you're a Guardian. Yes, I do consider Guardians sort of free to play in this aspect because you're really just paying for like the full gameplay experience. Without a Guardian, I do think you're just playing a trial version of the game, but yeah, that's my opinion. Okay, it's a very accessible set. If you look at it in terms of money, not in terms of like you have to be playing at this specific time in order to get this set, but yeah, it's generally quite a widely accessible set as long as you're playing Adventure Quest during this period of time. So this affects not just the spenders, this also affects the more casual players, the free-to-play players who have a Guardian. And I think it's important to talk about. A lot of people think that, you know, I only care about the big whales and the spenders because I'm one myself. And, you know, I only fight for premium items. That is not true at all. Okay, especially for the more iconic and big releases of the year, like the Frostval Giftbox set, and I dare say, I do feel that the Frostval Giftboxes are the most anticipated release of every single year, basically. That's just how the game has been since its inception, okay? The Frostval Giftboxes are one of the biggest, if not the biggest release in the games and in the whole year for the game. So it's very, very important to make it right, okay? You come out with a set that has originally doubled the value, you bug fix it to cut everything in half, and now players hate it, okay? A lot of people hate this change. Why? Because everything was cut in half. Like, you're not talking about a small 10%, 20% nerf. That I might still have been okay with, but 50%, and not just for one item, but literally the entire set by half. How is that good for player morale? Okay, and I think player morale is so important in a game like this that number one, does nothing to promote itself to gain new players. So the only bedrock or base that you have, or the only reason why this game is surviving, is because of the players, the core player base that has been around for a long time. And when you keep doing this, you know, you keep hammering them with these sort of, you know, disappointments, what happens? People leave. People are going to leave, and people have left. There's so many whales that I've seen that have left over the years, okay? Obviously, none of them makes a big hoo-ha like I do, but that's because most of them don't really have a YouTube channel to do so, but most of them silently leave, and that's equally bad, you know? People like me who care about the game, who are passionate about the game, I will keep talking about it until something gets changed. You know, if something I feel is wrong, it's done wrongly, I will keep making noise and make sure that the devs listen so that they'll change it and, you know, basically please more of the player base. Some people don't do that because the game is already dead to them, you know, and that can't ever be healthy for the game. Here's the thing, you want a balanced game, but at the same time, you also want to have more manpower to balance the game, to fix all the bugs in the game, to come out with better releases for the game, improve the game so they will attract new people and entice the current players to continue playing the game for many years to come. But you can't do that when you're always complaining about lack of manpower. And how do you solve this lack of manpower issue? Simple, hire more staff. But how can you hire more staff if the game isn't making enough money? That's the conflict here. You want to balance the game. You want to make the game fun. You want to improve the game. But you're always lacking the funds to do so. What reason are you giving Arctics to continue dumping resources into your 20-over-year-old game if it doesn't make enough money? Okay? At the end of the day, the game is a business. If it's not making money, it's going to shut down, just like any other business out there. So, money is actually quite important for the game. And in order to make money, what do you need to do? You need to sell packages. You need to sell your token packages, your golden gift boxes, all those. And those items needs to be better than an average item. They need to be very good items. But here's the conflict. If you make it too balanced, nobody's going to buy it. Okay, and if you make it very good, then you're technically going against what you say. So here's the dilemma. Which is more important to you? You know, are you going to sacrifice game balance over everything, even if your players hate the change, even if it means your players aren't going to be buying most of your premium items? Is it worth it? And to me, I feel that as a game, or just as any business, okay, player feedback is the most important thing out there. Some people are going to say, no, the game devs have a vision of their own game of how it's going to turn out, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. To some extent, I agree, but at the same time, this cannot happen without support from your players. It's, you know, it's a two-way thing. You can't have a game if you don't have players. At the same time, you can't have players if you don't have a game. And the game is going to stop existing if your players are not happy, if your players are not satisfied. So it is very, very important. I would say it's more important than any other thing to keep your players happy and satisfied. And when you do something like this, for not a premium item, but basically almost a free-to-play item, you're pissing off not just the whales, but also the casual players. And this year is literally the perfect year for the game to showcase themselves and put themselves on the big stage. Why people should continue to check out this game. Why old players should continue to come back and play this game, because of the Josh video. Okay, but they are not doing that. Okay, and instead, this is what we got. This is the first Frostval in a long time for many of these returning players. Instead, this is what they are getting. Everything cut in half. Like, is that a good look for the game? No, it is not. Like, it's a horrible look for the game. Can you imagine? Like, oh my god, I'm so excited for the Frostval gift boxes, and then we get this super duper good stuff and everyone's happy, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, it's bugged. So everything's going to be cut in half. Wow, that sucks. Okay, let's test out the items now. Actually, they are not really good anymore. Is that how Frostval gift boxes normally are? The most anticipated of the release, only to be left with a disappointment like that? And the answer, if you ask returning players, they are going to say, hell yes, this is normal. And then the returning players are going to be like, oh, well, that really sucks. Maybe I should reconsider my decision if I want to continue playing this game. How is this ever healthy for the game? How are you going to keep the game running if you keep doing stuff like this? Like, the problem is not with the bug fix itself. Everyone makes mistakes, and I'm sure bug fixers are careless mistakes. I make a lot of careless mistakes in my life, in my line of work as well. But that's okay. What's important is fixing the mistake. Not only fixing it in a timely manner, but how you go about fixing it. And I can just say that cutting everything in half is not the right way to fix it. Okay, with that being said, I'm not just here to complain, I'm also here to offer solutions. So my proposed solution is, instead of cutting the value by like a whopping 50%, only cut it by like 20%. Let's keep 30% more of the original power and have us pay for it in other forms. Whether it's through MRM reduction, paying a slightly higher SP cost, a slightly higher HP cost, or even better, mixing all three of them, okay, splitting up the cost between all three of them so that the impact is not so heavy. So that way, at least we keep more of the original value. The so-called bug fix or nerf won't feel as heavy-handed, you know, and players hate heavy-handed changes, okay? Other people have suggested that, you know, it might be a better idea to release underpowered items and then buff them later. At least there'll be less backlash that way. To some extent, I do agree, okay, but at the same time, it's equally bad and unhealthy for the game to do something like that, simply because it kills off hype for the item entirely upon release. And you know, when you have a big release like Frostval Giftbox, there's a lot of hype being built up. You want players to be happy, to be satisfied. And for that, you really need to make it right. And more often than not, something that is more powerful is going to satisfy more people than something that is, you know, less powerful. So it's better to err on the side of being OP than to err on the side of being UP. That's my opinion. Some people think power creep is, you know, the most important thing that you should look at in the game. I do not think so, because a huge part of this game's player base are casual players. They're not hardcore players, you know, who run around with zero stats, who runs around not using Essence Orb, who runs around using balanced junk. No, most of this game, okay, are filled with players who love to use broken and strong equipment. Okay, and I'm going to prove that. How am I going to prove that? Okay, let's just look at the leaderboards. Okay, the war leaderboards, token donation leaderboards, the legends leaderboards, all of these. Okay, let's look at them. Okay, I can just randomly pick. Okay, fine. Look at this guy. Okay, so the top guy. Let's see. Multi-Maw. Multi-Maw. Clearly a broken item that is meant for a bug fix. He's using it. Okay, what else is he using? H series, one of the best warrior armors in the game. Not broken, but yeah, one of the strongest items in the game. He has Necro. He has Wing Weaver. Okay, and then let's look at what else he has. Dragonlord's Will, even after it got fixed, he's still using it. Okay. Okay, so this guy is farming gold, as you can see, many spirit items, but if you look at this, okay, the items that he's using, Shadow Feeder Pendant, many people use that, Essence Orb, okay, the booster pets, some people want to nerf them, but look at how many people are using them. Invincible Heart, super duper powerful. Gandalfin, really powerful if you combine it with Berserk. Next person. Okay, Zombie. This guy is pretty active in my Discord as well. Let's see what he's running. Multi-Maw, same thing. Okay, and what else can we see? Torontosaurus Rex for the super powerful 8 hits that helps to counter your damage caps nowadays. And then we have your Cauldron Shields, super powerful shields that uses potions, basically free effects. And you know, Essence Orb, Shadow Feeder Pendant, you know, Fire Dragon Talent, your imbue spells, your boosters. Like, people love strong items. Okay, let's look at another list. Let's look at top legends. Okay, let's look at this first person. I do not know who this person is. Is this person even in the community? Probably not, but let's just see what they are using. Berserker armors, not as great nowadays. White Knight Z, clearly broken because of how damaging it is, but not that great anymore in today's meta. Yet people still love it. Okay, why do they love it? Because it's powerful, because it's broken. Essence Orb, Quad Force, Shadow Feeder Pendant, Prime Chaos Orb. Look at these. Like, okay, let me just randomly scroll and I'm gonna stop here. Let's look at this person. I do not know who this is. Let's see. Okay, Bloodblade, Bloodblade, Bloodblade. All of the best in slot damage items. People love their high damage items. Look at it. Shield cakes of every element. Jeez, look at that. And then, oh, also a hardcore gold farmer. Wow, okay. I actually do not know who this is, but holy crap, that's a lot of pay-to-win players that I'm not aware of. Kindred. Okay, no, the pet. Okay, the pet is garbage, but yeah. You can see here, Invincible Star as well. Look at all that. Let's go for one last one, okay? Very funny name here. Scroll down. Let's see what this person is using. Okay, these people are probably, you know, not aware of the community and all that. That's why their inventory seems a bit random. But I think they also roughly know what's good and what's not. The Vampire, the sub-race armors, he has 3 of them. And why? Because they have 10 freaking skills. Essence Orb, Shadow Feeder Pendant, these are pretty much staple items in like 99% of players' inventory. Like, look at that. Purple Rain, okay, he's still running it. Probably not aware of the nerfs to it, but yeah, you can see. People love their broken, their strong items. This is what makes people excited for items, okay? People don't care about, you know, weak, underpowered, or average items for that matter. They'll use strong items whenever they can, because that is the fun of the game. So do not take away this fun in the name of balance. Sometimes it's more important than balance to keep your players happy, to give them what they want. And this is what most people want, okay? So yeah, my solution, 30% power, 30% paying more. Not arguing for, a free hand wave of power. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking to let us pay more, but give us back some more of the original power. I think people will be okay with that. Okay, I also want to bring up this other change, this other suggestion that was actually brought up by Chaotic. Okay, if you guys are aware and part of the community, you know I don't get along with this guy. I hate all of his ideas because his ideas are shit. But for this one, I'll give him props. I think it's a pretty decent idea, to be very honest. What he suggested was funneling everything into one, rather than having like 3 different statuses, splitting it among the 3. We can funnel it all into one instead. Like it's either Elival, whether it's choke, whether it's burn, something like that. So instead of splitting up into 3, we can funnel everything into one status to make it more powerful. And I think that is a good suggestion. However, I do also think that there's merit in being able to do, many different things at the same time. And I think that's also what they're trying to do with this armor, giving us 3 status effects in one armor, which is basically almost unheard of. I wouldn't want to say completely unheard of because we have our tier 3 class armors, but yeah, it's pretty rare that we get 3 different status effects in one armor. I can see that they are slowly trying to move in this direction. For stuff like Dark Invader, you also have plenty of status effects compressed into one. So the compression is not exactly power creep. If you ask me, it's really the power. So if you funnel everything into one status, I can see some merit in doing that because you'll make the one singular status a lot more powerful as opposed to splitting up into 3 like weak statuses. Okay, so I think that's another suggestion they can consider. But of course, I hope that, it means that the one singular status is going to be very powerful. It can't be freaking average, okay? Nobody cares about average items in this game. And this is the most iconic set of the year. It absolutely has to be mind-blowing. If there's ever a time to push the envelope to, power creep stuff, the Frostval gift boxes are the release to do it. Alright, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I do not know if the staff will watch this video, but I passed along a lot of feedback on Artist Entertainment official Discord these past few days. I do not know how much of that feedback is being read by staff other than Lawkeeper, because it seems like I've hit a brick wall with him every time I try to talk about this issue. If he doesn't, go ahead and pass along the message, then I hope you guys continue to spam the Artist Entertainment official Discord. Let them know what you guys feel about this. Let them know that you hate the changes, okay? Don't just leave your comments down below. Of course, I do appreciate if you guys leave a comment here as well, but let them know, okay? On Artist Entertainment official Discord, let them know on the forums as well. The forums is more important because Hollow reads there a lot. And one thing I have to say about Hollow, as the game lead, he always makes the right decisions, and he makes the decisions that pleases the player base, irregardless of all the, balance nonsense. Okay, he makes decisions that makes the player base happy, and I think this is why he's also the most fitting man to be game lead, because he listens to players. Okay, he knows that it's important to keep the player base happy, to keep the game going, and that is important, far more important than any other balance nonsense that you want to talk about. Okay, so with that said, hope you guys have enjoyed today's slightly more serious video. I do have a whole backlog of other videos I need to get back to doing, so hopefully this will be the last time I'm talking about this issue, but I'll update you guys again in the weekly release videos if there are other changes to the armor. I hope they'll relook at it again, don't just, keep it the way it is and let it rot in our inventory. But yeah, till the next time, I'm your host Caravan Gaming, peace out.